You're listening to the Soulless Minions of Orthodoxy, alternative DVD commentaries. I'm Justin, and sitting next to me in the Soulless Minions studios is Josh. Say hello, Josh.
Hello.
And also sitting in our pseudo Soulless Minions studio here is Dave from the Meandawg movie podcast. Say hello, Dave.
Hello.
And Dave is going to be our special guest for 1998 or 1999's. I wasn't quite sure about that. Rushmore.
It's 98.
That's what I said. 1998's Rushmore, not Rushmore.
Yes.
And I guess before we get going, anyone who's listened to our movie commentaries knows a little bit about Josh and myself. But since Dave is our special guest, I'm sure you'd like to know a little bit about him before we get going. So, Dave, please tell us a little bit about your movie interests and experience, and even plug your movie podcast, please.
Okay. My movie interests are about the same as anybody else's, I guess. I just like movies. I dig them. And I like talking about them. And for, I think it was 2006, me and some buddies got together and started doing something called the Meandawg Top 5 podcast, where we just made top 5 lists about different movies, different subjects. We sort of slowed down on that, but we had a lot of fun doing it, and we'll probably end up doing some more at some point, hopefully, at least a couple more. So they're on iTunes. You can still go and check them out if you want.
Yeah, please do. It's an excellent show to this day. And I'd like to say that Meandawg is actually what got me into podcasting to begin with. So if it wasn't for Meandawg, I wouldn't be here today.
Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool.
Yeah, if it wasn't for Meandawg, we wouldn't have the now defunct Listcast Top 5.
Yeah, Listcast is still out there. Just type us into Google. We'll pop up. So.
I used to dig Listcast.
Cool. Yeah,
we've been talking about bringing it back, but we're not there yet.
Cool. Well, 3 more, and then you'll have 100.
I know. Okay, so I guess we should get going. For anyone who has not listened to any of our commentaries, you're going to want to set up a sync point with your DVD. Now, it is important to note that all 3 of us here are watching the Criterion version of the film, and we have noticed that sometimes the counter clocks do read different from version to movie. For us on the Criterion, that is 9 seconds into the film, and it is also the first black frame after the Touchstone logo has faded to black. So if you're going to watch the movie with us, and we hope you do, go ahead and get your DVDs synced up. And I'm going to give you a 3, 2, 1 countdown. 3, 2, 1, hit play, and we'll watch the movie. So everyone grab your remote, get your DVD ready, fingers on the button, and this is for the money. 3, 2, 1, unpause.
Can I just say, Justin, you've gotten really good at doing intros. I'm going to let you just do them from now on.
Lovely.
Okay, an American empirical production. Okay, we're opening up curtains to Rushmore. Just to make sure everybody's synced up.
Now, unless I have my facts mistaken, on that opening credit or the curtain shot, I believe Wes Anderson spoke about how that curtain was actually in the frame. It was not a composite shot because he wanted the cleanest possible image with that. So that is actually a curtain in front of the Rushmore sign that he had opened up.
Oh, and just that particular curtain.
Just for that shot, because he did not want to deal with any sort of post-compositing.
Yeah. The curtains are a recurring motif, so that's interesting that it's just that one shot.
Yeah, I just remember him talking about that he did not in any way want to degrade the quality of the film by doing a composite.
That's the sort of psychotic attention to detail I expect from Wes Anderson by this point.
I would like to see a psychotic attention to detail put on a Blu-ray of this movie.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, speaking of, attention to detail, I mean...
And here we are reading the finance section.
Exactly. I mean, yeah, I've noticed that about Wes Anderson, in particular about this film, that there's so much going on. Just so much. Mm-hmm. There's so much nuance, subtleties, and look in the background, and you'll find something. And I was finding that. It's just fascinating. And it's the same with all of his movies, like them or not. I mean, maybe you're not fond of The Life Aquatic, but the movie's jam-packed with stuff.
Sure. I'll say I'm a big fan of all of his movies, and I think one of the things that I really, really respond to in his films is that sort of attention to detail. And the way that he frames shots, it's always sort of like a complete picture. Like the entire thing is set up, all the colors, all the way that the people are arranged within the shot, it's all just sort of perfectly composed so that each frame of the movie is set up almost like its own painting.
Yeah, it's a beautiful way to put it. I couldn't put it better myself. And I've noticed that he's used the same cinematographer throughout his filmmaking career, excuse me.
Bill Murray.
This was Bill Murray's kind of beginning of his second acting career, I guess you could say.
Yeah, sort of the revival.
I would call it his
you want to say?
Really?
You think?
Well, I mean, I guess I could be talking out of my ass, but I think there was his early just after SNL stuff.
Oh yeah, like
if you want. Like Caddyshack or whatever, things like that.
Stripes.
Striped, yeah. And then he kind of faded, and I think he kind of was around for a little while, then faded again, and then came back. Say Groundhog Day was kind of in his middle area, and then he faded out, and then came back as an older guy, kind of doing the more serious stuff, things like this, layered things. But I mean, that's just my.
Yeah, I think he was nominated for a Golden Globe. I think for this.
Was he?
Yeah, I don't think he won.
That's cool because he's so good in this.
Oh, he's excellent.
He owns.
And this, I agree that this is definitely his second or third reinvention that he's, and this is sort of the first step in that before he went on to do Lost in Translation or Broken Flowers or
which oddly
Zombieland
enough, well, now you mentioned Lost in Translation. He Jason Schwartzman, that would be his cousin that directed that.
Sofia Coppola?
Yeah.
Cousin or
Coppola.
sister?
I think it's cousin because he is Talia Shire's son.
Right. Yeah. Oh, you stole my thunder. I was going to bring that up.
I want to say the cousin of,
Talia Shire is Coppola's cousin or sister?
Cousin or sister, I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're cousins. But yeah, I wonder if this is how the connection to him was made.
Well, this was actually his first film. And he was
Schwartzman?
Yeah, he was a minor during the film.
Now, this is Brian Cox here. I love Brian
It's a hell
Cox.
of a debut.
Oh, yeah.
For Schwartzman.
And
I mean, he made an immediate impression the first time I saw this movie.
Yeah. I don't think he's ever topped this.
I don't know.
I don't either.
He's so
as
good.
As he's been in other stuff, yeah.
Yeah, he just embodies the character of Max so well. It's hard to disassociate him.
Yeah, I mean, I have seen him in other things, and he's actually done a fine job. But this,
I loved him
like
in I Heart
tailor-made for him.
Well, here we have the opening montage, and
there's the Calligraphy Club. And
oh yeah, I mean, we get the kind of introduction to Max and his various clubs. And
I will say, the first time I saw this movie, it was probably very shortly after it got released on video, and I was a senior in college. And this montage is what made me fall in love with the movie. I got about this far into it before I was okay, I'm in love with this movie. I will follow it anywhere.
Well, I was just thinking, showing this, having seen the movie, of course, and knowing what we do about Max as a character, I think there's something about the Max character in showing this montage that really makes him relatable, because especially at this age, we all know that sensation of wanting to fit in and wanting to be something and do something. And that's obviously a good deal of what Max is doing when he's being a part of these clubs or starting these clubs. But having, knowing what you know about him as a character, that all those shots of him doing those things, he probably did it for about a day or two for each one. Right. And then just had an excuse every time the group got together. And I think there's something very relatable about that. And
and here we see his grades.
Yeah.
And you realize sort of the toll that takes.
Well, I think we're kind of told so much about his character so well up front. For instance, it opens with the dream in class, and he's solving the hardest geometry equation in the world. And then we get his grades, and we have the montage of the various clubs. But, I think it just says so much about his character, in that he's an overachiever, but he has a lot of confidence. But yet, like any other teenager, he wants to fit in. He wants to be accepted by his peers, and that's kind of what the dream sequence says about himself and about his low grades. And I thought it was a brilliant introduction. And in this scene right here, where he's talking to Brian Cox, it's kind of, I guess, the only kind of real expository moment we have, where he pretty much lays down exactly how he got into Rushmore. And it's kind of an as-you-know scene, a little too on.
It is, but I still think it plays.
It plays.
It doesn't stop me cold or anything like a lot of exposition scenes kind of do.
Well, we just had Mason Gamble on the screen, and I knew him from Dennis the Menace.
Sure.
Yeah.
Has he been in anything since this? I don't think I've seen him.
I haven't either.
I think he's been around. I know I've seen his name,
but
I don't.
He's like Jason Schwartzman. He's excellent in this movie, and they have great chemistry.
Oh yeah. Those two guys were like, Lone Ranger and Tonto. I mean, they were perfect.
I remember hearing, I think from Wes Anderson, that he wasn't sure about Mason Gamble because of Dennis the Menace. That's kind of off-putting at first, but then when they tested him, he was like, okay, this is the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, here
he's a good actor.
Oh yeah. Well, we have this. We have this quote here, and I guess that could be kind of like an overall theme for the movie. Something akin to when a man has the opportunity to lead an extraordinary life, he has no right to keep it to himself. And I guess Max
and that's exactly how Max thinks of himself.
Exactly.
To me, that's the thrust of the movie, is that he is this extreme overachiever and doesn't quite have what it takes to back it up in a lot of cases. And that's sort of what's endearing and tragic about his character all at once.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that's it, for me personally. I think that's what makes him so relatable. He's got lofty ambitions, but he just flat out doesn't have the skill to pull it off.
Yeah,
right.
Speaking
of
I
think
detail,
that makes him very relatable.
Definitely. Speaking of detail, I still can't figure out what book she's reading. I know it's got to be important in some way, because I just could never make out the title. But yeah, look at this composition here. His narrow view is he's isolating her, and look how long this shot hangs on his eye. It's just a little too long. It gets a little uncomfortable. But you see how narrow his scope becomes when it comes to Miss Cross.
Mm-hmm.
Now here's our first look at one of his reenactment plays. I friggin' love these. These are
oh yeah.
Well, they have those.
And the fact that he wrote them, that's so brilliant.
They have those
directs them, and
they have those great MTV shorts on the Criterion.
Yeah.
Which I have no idea how MTV got associated with this, but I'm glad they did, because they're treasures to behold.
Mm-hmm.
Now
He's
this
got the blue velvet curtains.
yeah. Now this actress here, I don't recall her name, but
Connie something.
Something like that. Gorgeous, and
yes,
I remember her mostly from Mission to Mars.
Mission to Mars
and 1 Hour Photo.
What do you know?
Yeah, 1 Hour Photo, of course, as well. And here we see Max. He's like a crossing guard.
Andy's a crossing guard.
And he just
so he's also a big rule follower. But and that's sort of what's interesting again about his character, is that he's a big rule follower and proponent, but he's also sort of breaks out and becomes a rebel throughout the movie.
Here comes one of my favorite lines. I know I'm going to say that a lot. This movie has so many good lines.
Yeah.
Where he's going to say, "What are you, a lawyer?" I just love the way he says it.
I love looking at that kid.
That kid pops up a lot, if you notice, in the background. There you go. What are you, a lawyer? And
this scene gets me.
This is when Bill Murray falls in love with Max. You can see it on his face.
Yeah.
See,
and it's a great way to do that without showing how awful his own kids are.
Yeah, look at the way he smiles at him. Yeah, what's the secret, Max? And this is what Bill Murray wants, because as we're going to find out, Bill Murray is someone who's like lost in translation. He's lost himself.
Well, not only that, he's chronically unhappy, and he's looking for some joy in his life, and he sees the joy that Max finds in just being Max. And look at that.
Look at that.
See, now I'm watching this, of course,
that's great.
It's muted, no subtitles, and I was just watching his face, and he's just acting his pants off.
Yeah, the way his expression.
The blowing of the.
That is so genius. And these kids are such tools. I mean,
I love the way he reaches back.
I love the reach across the back seat. I just love that.
And
That's
the way he did
move.
it with his face still forward, and he's just so.
I love
it. Boy.
Yeah, when Bill Murray reacted to Max saying, you just have to find one thing that you love and do that for the rest of your life. And for me, it's going to Rushmore. And right there, he's got Bill Murray in his pocket. He's like, I don't have that lust for life that you have. How do you have that? I want that too.
Well, you know, since we're here, this is Seymour Cassel, I want to say. This is one of the unsung heroes of this movie, Seymour Cassel. I mean, I just friggin' love this guy in this movie, and
he's a face.
He's a face, and he's a persona in this, and you can see right there in that moment how Max became Max right there when he turned that into an 87.
Do you know what it reminds me of? This guy in the movie. Did you say his name was Cassel?
Yeah, Seymour Cassel.
I'm horrible with names, but it reminds me a lot of the way that Fellini used faces, and I think that that's the way that this guy is used. Like, he doesn't have a lot of dialogue, he doesn't have a lot to say or do, but you recognize him instantly, and he's got so much character in his face that it just sort of says everything in whatever moment he's in. So I agree with you.
Well, you know, I'll say it now because I'll probably forget. But in regards to that dad, you know, we see throughout the movie Max completely bold-faced lie about what his dad does and who his dad is.
Yeah.
Well, you can see he's not comfortable with his kind of humble upbringing.
Well, yeah, he just wants to be so much more.
Of course.
But at the end, when the dad is finally introduced to Bill Murray's character, and he says something like, "Oh, I'm pretty sure it was Bill Murray's character anyway." But he says something like, "Oh, you're a brain surgeon, right?" And just from
you're getting that mixed up. That's Luke Wilson who says that.
Okay, Luke Wilson says that. Okay, but the point is that had this movie been written in a slightly different way, or if the writer directors, if they had got it wrong, that would have been a heartbreak moment where the dad, or it would have been earlier in the movie when the dad realizes the way his son is trying to portray him because he's embarrassed of him or doesn't want to be like him, something like that. But instead, in that moment, all the dad did was smile.
A great spin on the story too, because so much in film and just stories in general,
that's what would have happened.
Fathers and sons that are usually in conflict. Yeah, and in this, it's not that way at all. He is completely supportive of Max throughout. And I love that.
Yeah,
I thought it was a good spin.
He's supportive.
I agree. Like
we're looking at
he never feels embarrassed, and even though Max is sort of embarrassed of him, he never feels embarrassed about himself. But he also never feels embarrassed that Max is embarrassed about him. He just sort of puts forward that.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, and now that we
he wasn't embarrassed that Max was embarrassed. He just said, "Yeah, you know, I cut hair. A lot of people make that mistake, you know," and that was it. And I thought that was a real testament to writing and understanding that we didn't need some sort of cliche moment, and they just played it.
Well, we have Olivia Williams on the screen, and this is the first time
Olivia the Postman Williams.
Exactly. Yeah, you know, I think it's the first time I saw her, but The Postman came out before this. And Justin and I have a big soft spot for The Postman, but that's another story. But as you see, she's smoking in this, and I really like that they did that. And as you notice, a lot of the adults in this movie smoke. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Bill Murray smokes. Brian Cox smokes. Dirk's mother was smoking in that scene. I found that interesting. I don't know if there was a deeper meaning behind that, you know, smoking as a vice of sorts, but I don't know. I thought it was an interesting touch because people, especially in modern film, tend to stray away from showing people smoking on screen as if it's dirty in some way.
Well, I don't know where I heard this. Did someone tell us this in a recent commentary that if there is smoking on screen, that you automatically get a PG-13 rating or something?
Yeah, I recall hearing that as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's actually true.
But I remember hearing that though.
I hope not. Ugh. Well, I kind of I think it works in a couple ways. I agree with you that there's a lot of the adult characters sort of smoking on screen, and to me that sort of works in conflicting ways in that it's a means of showing them as being sophisticated, but also being
kind of
lost.
Yeah, kind of broken in some way.
Yeah, and broken and searching.
I love that line. Were you in the shit? Yeah, I was in the shit. The way that Max kind of changes the way he speaks to different people. He'll approach them in different ways. And his way of approaching Bill Murray is, asking him, were you in the shit? I just found that interesting. He's trying to relate to him. And, here, look at this. I mean, just watching Bill Murray act is just the thing to behold. The way the expression changes on his face when he asks, come work for me.
And he's on the wrestling team.
And he's an alternate.
Yeah. Look at that. Right. And then he gets
I think he just gets just owned right away.
Yeah.
Oh. So more support for Bill Murray's shitty kids.
Yeah, I love the way
throwing golf. Yeah. Oh, I love throwing golf balls into the pool, into the green nasty pool. Look at that pool; it's awful. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine going into that?
Well, flashback to the portrait. I like
that
the way
picture tells you everything you need to know.
Yeah, look at the way he smokes. It's the cigarette's just dangling, like he can't even bother to keep it straight. He doesn't care.
Yeah,
he tries to hit the kid. I love it. Sorry, I'm just gonna
Budweiser shorts.
Yeah, Budweiser swim trunks.
He's going up there with his cigarette, with his drink,
his drink. Mm-hmm. He goes into the pool with the cigarette. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, doesn't he take? Oh, he finishes the drink.
And look at that pool. It is disgusting.
And it's all overcast. It's just...
Yeah.
Everyone stops to look at
sad.
him. It's good.
Cannibal.
I thought it was a really good way to show his kind of dissociation with, his whole family, and the way you get to see his wife kind of having an affair, and just kind of dropped into the background. And the music that's playing over the scene, we haven't mentioned that yet. Music and montage is a big, big part of what Wes Anderson likes to do. And he takes his music insertions very, very seriously. Sure. And if you notice, like on the making of featurette on the Criterion disc, there's some scenes where they actually show that they're playing the music during the scene. So he has this all really mapped out in his head, like the music he wants to use, and he uses it to tell the story. And
to me, that's something I really respond to in a director. And the very few soundtracks I've bought over the years, Wes Anderson's tend to be up there.
This is one of the last actual CDs I bought was the soundtrack for Rushmore.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Along with other directors like David Lynch or Quentin Tarantino or guys who are just like really, really detail oriented. Mm-hmm. To me, everybody's got different opinions about all the different movies, but the fact that you can buy a soundtrack and listen to it, and the way that it plays within the movie is so important. Like all the scenes are so linked together that it wouldn't surprise me to find out that Wes Anderson is like listening to the music as he's directing the scene.
Oh yeah. They literally are, like on the set. They'll have the music playing.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same way, like during the the writing process. He'll be. I'm sure that's, like you said, that's similar of a lot of directors and also writers. Like, of course, I've just gone blank. Cameron Crowe, he's big on music as well to tell stories, and I love that. It's not just like, let's just get the top 10 hits of the year. They're actually using it to tell a story.
Right?
Maybe right. It might be a little emotionally manipulative at times, but I mean that's what music is. That's what music does. It's
that's its function within the movie.
Well, yeah, and just by itself as well.
Sure.
But here we have Max. This is where he's getting the idea for the aquarium. And I love this. He wants $35,000 for the initial plans.
He pulls out the checkbook. I forget how much he actually gives him.
$2,500. Yeah.
Yeah, 25. I'll give you $2,500. That's a good start.
See, I think I've read bits of the screenplay, and that isn't those expressions aren't written down. Those expressions for Bill Murray, that's something he brings, So
exactly, yeah. He really is awesome in this movie.
Yeah, and here we're. This reminds me of the book. It was Diving for Sunken Treasure. That's where Max saw the quote, and that's the book that Miss Cross checked out. And obviously Wes Anderson has to be a fan of that, because that's Life Aquatic right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that interesting. I never really thought about it before until rewatching it. I guess I'd forgotten about that point. Because like a lot, I was a bit disappointed by Life Aquatic at first, although it has grown on me over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is where things start to get a little uncomfortable, you could say. And
we don't see what she's drinking.
It's lemonade. It looks like lemonade.
Well, here it's lemonade, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think when she first takes that sip, I assume that it's lemonade and something else, maybe. She just has that look about her that she's barely surviving this job.
Oh, you think so? Look at this. Yeah, she's looking right into camera.
Yeah, she looks really tired by life, by her life in particular. And what attracted her to Max as a student in the first place is that he showed some kind of interest, and so you can see that but she immediately recognizes that he's got this big crush on her.
Yeah, I remember this came out in '98, and I grew up in a city that didn't have a whole lot of I guess you could say films out of the mainstream. Usually it was just big mainstream movies. I mean, I remember in that same year, my brother and I, that we saw this in the theater. We saw Star Trek Insurrection. That's something I remember the same year. This movie. When it came out, I was probably around 17 or so.
24 minutes.
Although I'd seen independent films before, this was my first time seeing an independent, out of the mainstream movie in the theater. And it really caught me off guard at first. When I saw it, I wasn't quite sure what to make of it, to be honest with you. And I didn't fall in love with it at first. Just because I just wasn't used to it. I'd never seen a movie like this before. And later on, of course, when it came to video and DVD, and I just fell in love with it. I mean, like I said, it gets better every time.
Sure.
And I like the way they're very abrupt in this scene. It's so uncomfortable, but the way she doesn't dance around the issue, that she knows that Max likes her. He has an affection for her. She doesn't dance around.
The handshake.
She doesn't dance around the subject. She just says blatantly, have you ever considered that you're far too young for me? And you think they're going to dance around it, but they don't. They just go right into it. Serpico. Right. This kind of reminds me of another film that Justin told me about.
Serpico?
No,
look at Murray. He just thinks this is the best thing
ever. Luke Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And his dad, look at it. He's loving this,
Well, the way Max adapts films into plays reminds me of Hamlet 2.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I thought that was interesting. Of course, the one this was first, but just watching Max, the way he has everything down to a beat.
The nun.
Yeah, that he's the nun.
I also like the boys' boarding school aspect to that, with the little boy playing the nun. Oh, and they're shooting the nun. She's shooting out the window.
So yeah, he's a perfectionist. You can clearly get that, even though you know that beforehand. But
right,
yeah,
I still love the artistic temperament where he gets jammed. Oh, look out!
Well, he does take these things seriously. So
yeah, but
and then
Max always gets his revenge, as we find out here.
Look at, I love how the shot goes to slow-mo.
Well, it's a beautiful
in the same shot.
And look,
slows down.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And look how everyone claps except the guy who just decked him.
Yeah,
right.
He's just standing completely
and to
still.
me, that's a really important theme to introduce because we haven't seen Max win yet. and this is the first time that we really see that. and this is the moment where he's like, "See, look at me win."
That's right. He's like, "What's up, bitch?"
Yeah, you see, look at the subtleties of this composite. Look at the
the guy in the background.
He's staring at him in the mirror.
Yeah.
He's giving him the evil eye, and those are just there's just so much attention to detail. Wes Anderson is so good at. And look at his dad offering him money. It's nice.
Now we're about to come up on just one of the
look at
best
that. You can
scenes
see you
in
can
the
see
movie.
Mason Gamble sweeping in the background. You know, it's just like one of those little things that you never really think about until like a second or third viewing.
Now this is Luke Wilson, and he's about to be in one of the best scenes in the movie here. I mean,
absolutely,
the scene that made all the trailers.
when Max gets drunk.
Yeah, this is not turning into a great night for Max. He got punched in the face, and now his love interest has brought a boyfriend along, and he's about to go postal on everyone. Which again, I think it's relatable. We all know what Max is feeling right now. He's trying so hard just to be
and he can't get the guy's name right. He calls him Guy. Here we go.
Right.
These are OR scrubs.
Purposely, really.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. Oh, are you? Just the lamest joke in the world.
I know.
But it so works.
I think what Bill Murray's character likes about Max is that
it's his gusto.
Well, it's just that he is Max. I mean,
he was Max at one time.
He was Max. He was probably Max without the drive to try. He has his company and all that, but we don't really know how he got it. But we know it just kind of probably happened, and he went with it. He's not a dumb guy. He just went with it. But Max is working for everything that he gets, and it's I think it's just a quality in him. They call it gusto or something like that. That Bill Murray just wants.
He's a bit of a confidence man when it comes down to it. Max is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, he, like we've already said, he doesn't have a lot to back it up, but he is. It's all drive and it's all confidence, and it sort of gets him places. And then he smacks.
Yeah, it's hard not to laugh at him.
And Luke Wilson, I love how he plays it. He will not
totally
let this
straight.
kid challenge him.
What I kind of think is great about the scene is that you're. As through most of the film, you're on the side of Max and you hate Max, sort of in the same moment, because he's being such an ass in this scene.
That's a good reaction from Luke Wilson.
But you absolutely understand what he's going through,
yeah.
and you know why he's reacting the way he is.
Oh yeah, and I mean that's so painful to watch him say that right there. And I'm in love with you.
No, this is beautiful.
Oh yeah, you never say that to a woman. That's
Right.
just a big mistake. And seeing him just hiding behind the tree.
Well, it's he's Max. I mean, he's a kid too.
Well, I think before this he's been kind of listless, and now Max is kind of rejuvenating him. He's in that process.
But I mean, just the way he was hiding behind that tree. I mean, this is a guy who
was in the shit, and now he's afraid of this woman.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is he's scared out of his mind. And he's nervous.
That's sort of one of the things about Max's focus, I think. And you never want Max's focus to be on you, which is the uncomfortable thing that this teacher is feeling.
Well, yeah, she's feeling his obsessiveness.
And but just being around Max sort of gives focus to other people, as we see is happening to Bill Murray's character.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Oh, look at this line here. Oh, he's not going to like the sound of that.
He may be, Max may be obsessive and overly ambitious, but he is the life of the party. He walks in the room, he'll light it up.
In some way, yeah, he will.
Yeah.
But man, I just love the relationship between
these two. Yeah.
No, Max and Bill Murray.
Well, here's a moment coming up right here that I truly adore, when he's going to ask what her name is. What is your first name?
Rosemary.
And this is them connecting for the first time. Look at the way he says his name. Herman. It's like he hasn't said.
Yeah, he's ashamed.
Well, it's not so much a shame. I think it's something he hasn't had to say in a long time. And like a line from the film adaptation of Dragnet, Tom Hanks says, "Friendships begin with first names." And there you go. He's running away.
It's just there is such subtlety and such beauty in the relationship between Max and Herman. And when she asked him, are you his messenger? And he goes, no, I'm his friend. And how beautiful is that someone of his age has befriended and not mentored, not something else like that. He is truly Max's friend. And I think their relationship is beautiful. And even when he says, Max not going to like that, it's he already knows this kid.
Future man. Sorry.
Oh, that's a Bottle Rocket reference. This is my baseball diamond. I love the way he says that line. This is one of the Anderson brothers.
Yeah.
No, Wilson brothers.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, Future man.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. Well, I think the gentleman who was holding the shovel a few seconds ago was Wes Anderson's brother, I believe. And
was it?
I think so. He pops up again at the end. I think he's the gentleman who helmed the making of featurette, which is actually pretty good. Not to get off the subject, but
in the hard hats.
Yeah.
That's another aspect of Max's character is just how seriously he takes everything he does.
He always comes prepared.
He will never half-ass anything in his life.
And I love, here we have Buckin in the background. We had Mr. Little Jeans in the background. It's beautiful composition. Yeah, the gentleman holding the plans back there, I think that's Anderson's brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
And look at Seamus back there laughing his ass off.
Just thoroughly enjoying the future expulsion.
And this is important, too, here, that we see Max crying.
And we don't get invited into the scene.
No,
we
don't need to.
No, we see it through Dirk's point of view. That's good.
Yeah, and this is important for Dirk as a character to see Max broken like this.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not done in words, and I think that's a rare treat these days.
Grover Cleveland High School. Opening up in October. I really do love the way they brought in the curtains, kind of reminiscent of what Max does, making plays. You have curtains and it's broken up into acts.
Mm-hmm.
And
I love the environment he's in. He's just completely does not fit.
Does not fit in. But he, most people, this is one of the things about Max that I love is that most people would take this as a major setback, and he does, but they would give up immediately. He doesn't. He says right here, although you can tell he's a bit timid and depressed, he's like, I'm going to try to make a go for it here at Grover Cleveland. I'm really going to try. And I'm not going to give up despite this huge setback,
And again, we empathize and we hate him because he's so condescending in his speech.
He kind of looks a little bit like Clark Kent to me.
See, now to me, he always had he almost looks like a really dorky version of Tom Cruise.
Margaret Yang.
I love Margaret Yang.
I fell in love with Margaret Yang.
Who doesn't? I mean, how do you not fall in love with Margaret Yang?
I wish she would pop up more. The only thing I ever saw her in was Old School in a very small role.
I don't even remember that.
But I was like, it's Margaret Yang.
She's adorable. I mean,
yeah, she should have a spin-off movie.
I mean, for me personally, I know there's guys that have different things, but she is like perfect. She is willing to accept Max for everything he is and everything he's not. And she sees in him what he could be and what he wants to be. And I think that's what makes her, and aside from that fact that she's just cute as shit.
Yeah.
I wonder if this was a goof. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. That's got Bill Murray pratfall written all over it. It's almost like he's in jail on the phone here.
Exactly, yeah. That's the exact staging.
Of course. Bill Murray,
I love the rejection coming up.
Yeah.
Smash.
Yeah, look at him. He's a kid.
He's acting that way. Yeah, he's come down to the teenage level again, and
and Max is trying to do the adult stuff here.
He's bringing the vitality back into him. You can tell the spark.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is great.
36 minutes.
Come on.
That's mature.
That's
Come
on. Yeah, that's one of those moments in the theater I remember really responding to. Just,
Yeah. I love that he's still wearing his jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just does not. Rushmore is his life,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
It's part of who he is, and he's not going to give it up. And again, with the attention to detail, I love that you can see the 2 pins on his collar there.
Mm.
Later, the 2 pins that he will give to Bill Murray. It's just something you don't really notice until looking at it again.
Well, I also like the small and subtle arc that goes on between the two of these guys. You know, Seamus is jealous of Max, but yet everything he says to Max in this scene right here is 100% spot on. He's nailed him, you know?
Yeah.
And Max really hates that. He really hates being called out, but yet these two work their shit out. And he ends up being Max's Chewbacca, you know?
Sort of.
And,
right.
And I really like seeing those kind of relationships in a movie where you've got 2 antagonistic characters who somehow find a respect for each other and fight and defend each other. You know, when, you know, Seamus is willing to fight for him at the end, and I think that's really cool. And it feels believable somehow.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, the sort of cliched ending to that would be that he somehow punches the bully out, or something like that. And that would just be boring, and we've seen it all before. And,
but in this, all he needed to... Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just, instead of the punch, he just says, hey, how would you like to be in my play?
Right.
And that's all Seamus really wanted.
His name is Magnus, by the way. Not
I'm sorry.
I've always wanted to be in one of your plays.
Yeah, and then it's at the end during the play when Max gets punched accidentally, he's the one that stands up and goes, Fisher! And he's ready to fight.
Right.
I really enjoyed their relationship, and you're right, it isn't atypical. It kind of reminds me in a way of Welcome to the Dollhouse, the way that the character, the male character, I can't remember the actor's name who plays the boy who has a crush on her, but the way he shows his emotions is through aggression.
Yeah.
That's the way he shows that he likes her, and Magnus is the same way, through aggression. It's an adversarial relationship. Bill Murray just slumping with his steering wheel.
I love the kid with the hat beside him.
The creepy eyes,
He gives him,
Another montage, but Wes Anderson is just an expert at montages.
It's like, I'm taking your spot. Here we go.
Yeah.
Now here we're going to have the...
was that Alexis Bledel?
I don't think so.
I think it was.
Look at Margaret Yang here. She's faked her results, we later find out. Yeah. And in big part, I think it's because of... look at that. You can see that on her face.
Yeah, to impress him.
Yeah, to impress Max. Well, she felt kind of challenged by Max, too, in a way.
She did.
And I think I never really thought too much about it until, like I said, I'd taken another look at it.
Well, what I like about Max is...
Yes!
It's beautiful.
He's got no fear, No, most people would not do this, but look at him. He just does not care.
Yeah.
Bill, God, I love this guy.
Look how much life he's brought into to Mr. Bloom.
This is a pseudo family we have here, and
it is, yeah.
It's beautiful. And look, he's already got his posse. It's
already come together,
right?
Yeah.
His new sidekicks.
Mm-hmm.
I like whether that you phrase that too. No fear. It's not a courageousness about Max. I think it's just the inability to realize that he could be different than what he is.
Mm. Well, yeah, you mentioned the word courageous, and I was just watching Green Lantern, and they mentioned that being courageous isn't having no fear. Being courageous is facing up to your fears. But Max, I don't think he's actually afraid. It's just who he is, and it's like you said, he can't imagine being anything else.
I love the kind of nervousness. It's like he's asking a girl out on a date for the first time.
Yeah.
Mm.
And there's a little subtle moment here when he's going to step up to her, and before he responds, she's going to say, would you like to go for a walk? He pauses, doesn't say anything, and then he walks up to the steps, almost right in front of her, and then says, "Okay." It's just that attention to detail and the staging of the shot. It's beautifully done, and.
Mm. sort of a sweet and nervous moment between these two.
It's hard not to laugh. I know it's hard not to laugh. It's funny.
Yeah, it's a funny moment.
And the carrots, like
that's sort of and then he walks back.
Yeah.
He had the perfect opportunity to stand there close to her,
Mm-hmm.
but he took the carrot and walked back to where he was.
I love that it's carrots of all things. I just found
And he's getting ready to leave. You don't have to leave.
See, he pauses. He's thinking, and now he walks up to her, and he's going to stop for a moment before he responds. Sure. Yeah.
It's just as
Look at that on her face. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're going to see them holding hands, which is it's a good way of subtle way of letting the audience know what's going on without actually being batted over the head with it. So there's no close up on their hands. You don't see that directly, but you can see it.
But they are holding hands.
Holding hands and smiling. Yeah. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
You can't hear the music, but it's a good bit of orchestral type music. Kind of reminds me of the angry theme.
Pipe organs.
Yeah, like the angry theme that Reese Witherspoon has in Election.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
Well, this is pretty intense here. I mean, spitting on a car the way he did,
it's good. And the way they had the camera was looking up at his face. Yeah.
Yeah, and look at him. He knows he's done something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he knows this is going to hurt Max, and he really loves Max. You know, not morally wrong or anything, but just this is going to hurt his friend, and he knows that, and he feels caught, and for him to feel caught in connection to a 15-year-old is, you know, that's.
And one of the things that's so engaging to me about that particular interaction.
Just at the wrong time.
This is brilliant. Unlock it!
Those kids are just Satan.
But one of the things that's really engaging me about that particular interaction is that Bill Murray's character treats it so seriously.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm talking about.
It's as though he was talking to somebody his own age.
Yeah.
Instead of this kid who's 10, 11 maybe.
Yeah, I love that.
You know, like he's not patronizing at all. He just treats it completely seriously. He treats Max's feelings completely seriously. This kid's feelings completely seriously.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, and I think that is such a beautiful thing that they've done in this movie in crafting the friendships and relationships that Bill Murray looks upon them as equals in a friendship sense, and that he knows what this will do to Max, and he, like you said, he's not patronizing of it. He doesn't think it's silly that Max has feelings for her. He gets it. He knows, and he feels like he's betraying his friend, and then he got caught.
Yeah, it's the first moment we just saw that he saw Max kind of in a different light when Magnus comes up to him and says, "Oh, you know, the son of a brain surgeon doesn't have to impress anyone." It's the first kind of negative note that is put into
each other hand
jobs
jobs while you're taking a nap on the front porch in crayon.
Of all things. Yeah,
that's awesome. And this here is just, again, it's just, I relate to Max. I know know what he's feeling, and this shit here, you know. And I love it. Look at Herman here. He is not going, "Kid, get out of my car." You know, you're out of your league or whatever. No, it's like you said, the age is not a factor.
Yeah, it's like you said. You know, he said, "Are you his messenger?" No, I'm his friend.
I'm his friend. Yeah, and he's not belittling Max. He knows that Max doesn't have a future with her, but that's not what this is about. You know.
He does really respect the fact that he is in love with her, that Max is in love with her. You know, he doesn't dismiss that as, "Oh, you're just a kid with a crush." No.
Yeah, I think the key word there is respect. He respects Max and his feelings, and he feels bad for, you know, what he's doing, even though he's not going to stop doing it.
Right.
You know, here we go with the smoking. You know, Max is smoking in this scene.
Yeah, you know, he's putting on his act. He's putting on his show.
I love it. There's no coverage. It stays in this shot. Oh, sorry.
Wow.
It doesn't. I thought it did. Then it goes out. Okay. Were you quoting Scrooged?
Yeah.
Okay.
I saved Latin.
Hey, it's Bill Murray.
Yeah, I know, right?
Say, I meant to ask this before we started.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys have an intermission, maybe?
No.
But if you need to step away, we'll continue.
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Now here we have Max just hitting
rock
the bottom.
Well, he hasn't. I guess this is his angry rock bottom. You know, he's going to go into his doldrum phase here in a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
But gives him the finger. Yeah. Burning the leaves. Yeah. It's a good transition with the smoke here.
Now, what do you think of this business that Max is about to do here?
He's jealous. This is exactly what someone his age would do. Use it to his advantage.
Yeah.
It's an incredibly awful thing to do to someone, but
it
he
is.
wants to win her back. Maybe he's ambitious, maybe he has connections, but at the end of the day, he's still a 15-year-old boy who had just had his heart broken. And I love this here. Max always comes prepared. Look at this. He has sandwiches, apple juice, it looks like a box of donuts. I think it's a good touch. Yeah, she just says, get to the point. Yeah. I think it's good. They the sound effects drown out the dialogue so that we know what they're saying, but we're not explicitly told.
Yeah.
It's a good touch. I love this kind of nonchalant way. And definitely being sued for divorce.
Well, this is not a surprise for him.
No, but just the way he nonchalantly just brings it out. It's a good touch. And the doorman, the bellman, very good, sir.
Now, this here also is just a testament to direction and acting. When Bill Murray realizes what's happening, even though he's being besieged by bees, the look of, all right, good play, sir.
Game on. Yeah,
exactly. But it's like he doesn't. Look at this right here. Here it comes.
Yeah.
Then
all right.
he smiles,
and then this look.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, okay,
at first
that's where you want
it's
to take
admiration and respect, and then okay, now it's on.
And the music playing over the scene is so beautifully married to the images.
Awesome.
Rushmore Beekeepers. He's even using his connections.
Mm-hmm.
And the little war sequence.
And there's the rebel. See what I was saying earlier?
Yeah.
He starts as the crossing guard, and now we see him sticking gum to the wall. It's a small step.
Mm-hmm. This is hilarious.
And this is where he's
going to run over his bike.
And then the guy, is it Mr. Little Jeans that sees him?
Yeah.
Doing this?
Now, Mr. Little Jeans appears in, is it every Wes Anderson film?
I think so.
Is he in Bottle Rocket, Dave?
Kumar?
Oh, well, Kumar is the actor's real name, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, this guy.
Yeah. Mr. Little Jeans.
Yeah, he was...
he was Kumar in Bottle Rocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't he the safe cracker that couldn't get the safe cracked?
Right.
Okay. You didn't know because you never knew.
And of course, here Max goes just a little too far.
A little too far. He's going to cut the brake lines, and it's a little too over the. Yeah, he's crossing the line just a little bit, where you're endangering someone's life. That's where
I like how quickly we get there, though.
How quickly we get to that point? Yeah.
Yeah. That even though there's a certain aspect of danger to everything that these guys are doing to each other right now, that it very quickly escalates with Max.
Well, yeah, it's
into something that could
Bill Murray
that could kill people.
Yeah, Bill Murray destroyed his mode of transportation. Now Max is doing the same to Herman.
Yeah, I do.
Look out, Mr. Little Jeans.
I think this was a little too much because
this beat here is really good. You think the montage is over, but it's not. This song's gonna pick up right here. Oval face and then handcuffs. Yeah.
See, this to me is almost a little out of place because this is real. This is hardcore here. But at the same time, it's probably giving Max some street cred, and he kind of likes it. You know?
Well, he does have a flair for the dramatic. I think he was selling it.
Sure.
Absolutely.
See, Max is kind of scary because he really has no edit button.
Smoking again.
Yeah, notice that he's smoking now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And
I think on the making of featurette, this is a moment when Wes Anderson actually is one of the people throwing rocks at him right here in this shot. I thought that was funny. Why do you think he's dressed like Merlin? I don't know. It's a good way to show the change of the seasons with the pumpkins.
I think the costumes of the children is sort of a means of showing them as children.
Yeah, one's looks like he just came from karate practice. The other one's a pirate.
Yeah, there's a pirate. There's this dude in the mask.
Well,
here,
it's
Boris Karloff
yeah, it's Halloween. I just mentioned why he's dressed like Merlin. Yeah.
There's that too. Yeah, it's October.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way, like
the karate uniform.
Yeah, the changing of seasons. It kind of reminds me of another movie that does that, Steel Magnolias, where they visually will show the change of seasons without really addressing it. I like the painting in the background.
Now, what is your thought about the Brian Cox's character here? He looks like he's getting sick in this movie, like as the time goes on.
He is. He ends up in the hospital at the end.
Is that okay? I'm sorry. It's been actually a little while.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
I wonder if there was a reason why
he has deteriorating health.
Yeah. I mean, why? It's an interesting layer to add, but I wonder if there was some significance to it.
I don't know. Just one of those subtleties, I guess, to add to the story. I mean, he does end up in the hospital, but in the end, he comes back out. He's in a wheelchair, but Max is actually the person, although they have this adversarial relationship, Max is the person that makes him wake out of his coma.
Yeah.
So he brings...
That's right.
He does bring him back to life.
And he gets so mad at
Fisher.
him.
It's Fisher. That's the first thing he said. Yeah. And
so, this is
painful. This is really hard to watch.
Oh, this is uncomfortable to watch.
He's deconstructed her life. She's taking down everything, and
he's become quite a monster at this point. I mean, he's destroyed Herman's marriage. She had already quit, but he was well on his way to destroying her career.
It's painful to watch, but it's so relatable. I mean, how many of us out there can say, as a young man, when you fall in love for the first time, it's just watching this, it's just so...
And she has to wrestle him away.
She pushes him down, and
the way he falls is so awkward, and, look at that. Oh.
Yeah. Rarely do we see Max, in this so vulnerable and broken. This person who is a yellow belt in the Kung Fu Club or Karate Club, and, he's just completely brought down, and he says, Rushmore was my life, now you are.
Listen to what
now's when she gets nasty.
Yeah.
She gets mean in this.
Oh, yeah, this is mean.
And this is where you really start to empathize with him again. Look
at that. She says,
no matter how far he's pushed it,
you
realize that she pushes it just too far.
Well, she lays it down in the way he doesn't want to hear it. She says, not if you've never fucked before. And that is, of course...
Did you say you fingered me? Or maybe we could give you a hand job.
She's putting real life into his romanticism.
Yeah, and look at him. He's hiding. He's cowering.
Look behind that pole. Yeah, he's just hiding behind it. He doesn't want to hear it. Like... any young person.
And obviously he's never been there because
this kid, who is this
He calls
kid?
it vulgar, and he's...
Like any kid, they'll just, young kids didn't want to believe that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. They'll just pretend it isn't true in the way he just does. And
this boy, he's everywhere.
He pops up everywhere. Yeah.
You're right, he is everywhere.
He was standing in the background of the scene when Bloom was talking to the cops. He's just there.
He's going to show up more. Yeah. He's just everywhere.
I love that. It's a nice little touch. He's just present.
Don't get nasty, brother.
That guy is like a twisted clone of Ewan McGregor.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
In a sense that you said he was like Tom Cruise in a way. Yeah, I see what you mean.
I think Max needed that a little bit.
Yeah.
Well,
and again, I like that aspect of it where instead of Max punching out the bully, he gets punched out by the bully, and then he comes to a realization. And then you realize that the bully was kind of right.
Yeah.
It's just sort of a cool way to twist that whole narrative onto its head.
Now, the tree bit in this, I think, is awesome. I mean, Max was pretty much about to commit premeditated murder here.
Well, he just cut the guy's brake lines, So
well, it didn't go well. But the fact that he just cops to it, yeah, I was gonna have the tree fall on you. And then the reveal that he wasn't playing.
Yeah, because you think, he didn't really. He thought of it. He didn't actually set it up, but nope,
yeah.
he did.
Nah.
No, he did. He's not.
I would have totally murdered you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. He just tells him that big one. That would have flattened me like a pancake.
Yeah.
So again, it's like a twisted respect they have for each other here.
Like Max later says, war does funny things to men.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is when Max is going to go into his kind of doldrum phase, what I like to call it, and smoking again. I don't know. I just never really thought too much about that. Sorry, it's just one of those touches. But it's interesting to follow a character that it up front you can respect and understand. Maybe you don't like him, but you respect him. But you watch him, you watch him learn humility. And November. It kind of reminds me of another film, although not quite similar to this, called Cabin Boy, where a very privileged person starts off, very mean and arrogant, and then is brought down to size. It's a very nice transition to watch in the story. Yeah, as you see, Max, his colors have changed. As you saw, he was wearing that kind of brown jacket, kind of like earth tones, and he's not wearing the blazer anymore,
Yeah.
No, he's...
And then he's taken up his father's business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's kind of becoming his father in a way. Not that his father's bad, but...
Well, his father also said,
Right.
I think he's going to say, pipe dreams, Dad, I'm a barber's son. And
Yeah.
you could tell that really hurt his father. But
Yeah.
he says, still... I was kind of hoping you'd take up another line of work, but I'm a barber. That's what I do. I'm good at it. This isn't for you. He knows that.
Yeah.
And God, I just love this girl so much. I wish this character existed in real life. But
Yeah, I know, right?
she gives him this little plant, and he still rejects her.
I know. His treatment of Margaret Yang almost makes him unlikable to me, to where he's almost not redeemable because she's so freaking awesome. He's
and
so
it's right
dismissive.
until the end too.
Yeah.
Like he pretends, as we'll see towards the end, but it's never about her.
Yeah, they're very. I mean, they're so similar. I mean, she's just the honest and sweet version of Max.
And that's sort of the function of her character, I think, is that she's supposed to be there almost as a red herring, a romantic red herring.
Well, as a contrast too.
Yeah, and as a foil. But I think we're also supposed to expect that he's going to lock into her and realize that she's the one for him and all that sort of thing, and he doesn't. He just doesn't.
Yeah.
Ever.
Have you noticed, that's another no smoking sign? It's kind of prominent in the film.
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
There's been more than one.
That.
And, I wonder if Wes Anderson's trying to say something, smoking is a vice, and maybe it helps you feel better in the moment and when you're down, but...
Well, I think what it's sort of symbolizing this movie is I don't know, ennui, despair.
Yeah, I mean, the way no smoking would be affiliated with the character of his father here. He's...
Yeah. Well, when Max starts smoking, it's about the point where he's kind of given up, and that's the point when we see Bill Murray smoking. That's the point when we see his father smoking. These are characters who've just sort of given up on life, and dreams and possibility.
Yeah, exactly. I couldn't put it better myself. And his father is the exact opposite. He knows who he is. He knows what he does best. He's nothing like that. So, and he wants the same for his son. And like I said, I love that fatherly relationship. Because, how often do you see that in movies, where it's the father and son never get along, and there's always, they're always butting heads, and in the end they come together. Not in this film. He's completely supportive from the get-go.
Right. Zero conflict between the two.
Merry Christmas. Now it's Christmas.
Yeah.
We've passed Thanksgiving, but... mm-hmm.
1985 through 1997.
Mm-hmm.
That, to me, is interesting.
Well, how so? You mean the length of time he was there? Or?
Yeah, well, you would sort of assume that that's this kid's entire lifespan. But it says Rushmore Academy at the top. It really sort of highlights the fact that
it is
Rushmore really is his life.
It is very reminiscent of
his entire existence.
Something of like on a headstone, born, died on this date. Yeah, it is very reminiscent of that. This is where.
So it's sort of like a bit of an acknowledgement that maybe your life is over, or you think it's over, or we think your life is over.
Well, your life there is over, but it's like Logan's Run. He's going to be renewed.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
Or sucked up into the giant weird people vacuum.
Mm-hmm. Well, his life clock flashed red, and it's going to be clear. He's going to find sanctuary in something else for the first time in his life.
Or run into Peter Ustinov.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sorry, you just...
I don't know if your brain is damaged or...
Fisher.
This poor man.
That's the first thing he said in 10 days. Yeah, it's...
Do you think he recognized me?
It's Fisher. Yeah.
See, these are the details I like. Not only this kid, but there was another one earlier on the baseball field with Future Man and everything, where a kid runs out with a camera and starts snapping photographs as things are happening.
Yes.
That they're... it's sort of that Max is not necessarily completely unique, that there are other kids like this who are just really, really focused and don't know what they're doing, but really want to know what they're doing. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. No. I think it's a good, like you said, it's a good subtlety. There's something something that's hinted upon, but not, completely hit over the head with. And it's just one of those touches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah, it's just sort of this culture of overachievers is what's being created in this
movie. They all go to Rushmore Academy, so.
Yeah.
And just look at Bill Murray here. He's just
destroyed.
Mm-hmm. He's bringing Dr. Guggenheim, a bouquet of flowers, but look at his hair. It's just all disheveled, and here he's gonna light up another cigarette while he's still smoking the same one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Sweet, but she's fucked up.
Part of me, the first time I saw this, thought he was going to give the second one to Max, but he does not.
He doesn't, no. I love this. Oh, I'm a bit lonely these days.
That is, I know, such a testament to understatement. It's so beautiful. Just love it.
And such a twist by the end, because you really feel like at this point that Max has turned a corner.
Well, he's still in love with her.
But he hasn't.
He's still in love with her. I mean, look at that composition.
Yeah. By the time you get to the end, you find out, no, he hasn't at all.
Well, I think he does, but in the end, he's still in love with Miss Cross.
Well, that's the thing. By the end, he kind of wins, doesn't he?
In a way, he's had a definite arc. But, we can touch upon that when we get there, I guess.
Yeah.
Don't want to jump too far ahead. I just got hit by a car. Like this. What? What did you say?
What?
The blood, yeah.
I was hit by a car. It ruined my hearing somehow.
And we're in Edward Appleby's room, and like anybody who's lost someone, you notice that they won't change their room. They'll leave it as is. That reminds me another film, In the Bedroom, I believe. They keep the room the same, and
this is the point when she realizes, wait, what is he doing on a ladder outside of my window?
mm-hmm. Yeah, right when he pops on the music. Yeah.
If you were really hit outside of my house by whatever coincidence, then you would have knocked on the door, maybe.
Mm-hmm. And this is, I know she needs to be confronted by this because you can see she's still living with the ghost of her dead husband. Mm-hmm. And the way Max does this to her is so unforgiving, I think. It's so brutal. It's so cold.
I agree.
But she does need to hear it in some way. She needs to move on from this. She needs to begin to move on, at least. Start putting the threads back together. And it's a really hard thing to hear, but she needs to hear it. And it reminds me of another great film, Ordinary People, with, what's the actor's name I'm thinking of?
Timothy Hutton?
Timothy Hutton. The whole movie is about Timothy Hutton and his family trying to come to grips with the death of his brother and their son. And there's a final moment in the movie, one of the best scenes ever captured on film, when he has a confrontation with the psychiatrist who, what's his name? I've gone blank.
What, the psychiatrist? I don't remember.
I can't remember, but it's like this moment here where he finally...
Well, hold on. I mean, you're kind of missing some beats here.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I mean,
I just meant that in the sense of this scene where it's in build-up, although, this movie isn't about the death of her husband, when in Ordinary People, that's in the forefront. That he's going to have to be confronted with it eventually and come to terms with it, how painful, no matter how painful it's going to be. That moment has to happen eventually, and it just reminds me of that. And the way you saw the tear fall in her eyes right there, and you could tell this is something she does not want to think about. And like Ordinary People, look at that. She almost let him,
She didn't. Yeah, that was.
She didn't push him away exactly.
Well, no, and she's being extremely inappropriate with his age and everything. The fact that he's not her student anymore certainly helps with that. But she loves the kid in her own way.
Well, she compared him to her husband.
But that she let him that she let him get that close is.
Well, she did say, "You remind me a lot of him," and she said, "You're the president of the Beekeepers." He founded that club, so I think she sees a little bit of Edward Appleby in Max.
Definitely.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, just like in Ordinary People, the character of Edward Appleby also drowned, like Timothy Hutton's brother did. That's interesting.
Yeah, see, she's not throwing him out the front door. No, it's
back out the window.
Yeah, she's she can't hate this.
And closing the curtains. The curtains again.
Curtains again.
I love the gloomy kind of overcast look, and I know that Wes Anderson can't make something like that happen, but his attention to detail makes me think he summoned the gods and said, "I need there to be an overcast day, so I can shoot this scene."
Yeah, I think he purposely shot this on an overcast day.
Yeah, I just waited for one, maybe. Yeah, it's so gloomy and gray.
He's got an insane attention to detail from everything I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look at all the colors. It's all kind of washed out. And like I said, Max's wardrobe here is so kind of opposite of his blazer and his... You saw him with that red beret, earlier. And this is kind of like the complete opposite of that.
Yeah. Well, sure, the environment and the wardrobe, they all speak so much more than the dialogue does.
Oh, definitely.
And here's Yang.
I like that they, I just love that her face is covered,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, it's like moments like that where
And again, this is that red herring where you're thinking, oh, well, it's all going to work out great for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's one of those moments where I want to pause the movie and read her little map, because it's just that detail that Wes Anderson puts in, and here she's saying he was a fake, I faked all the results, and he kind of realized that she was doing it because of Max, and I wish this character really existed in real life.
I know.
She's so forgiving and so sweet. Max is still a member of the Kite Flying Society, though, it seems.
Yeah, he's a founding member, I'm sure.
Yeah, if he isn't the captain, he's the founding member. Yeah.
It doesn't seem to be breezy enough to fly a kite.
No, it doesn't. You're right.
It's like perfectly
I
still.
love the concentration here.
I love this moment here when you see this kind of epiphany on his face, and when he asks Dirk to take dictation here, and you see that. Look at that look in his eyes.
It's like,
Oh,
yes,
he's so excited.
back.
We're back.
Yeah, it's like,
Let's do it.
yeah, it's like that moment in Ghostbusters 2. We're back. Maybe not exactly like it.
Yeah.
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 Oh no, this is where he's making up the Kite Flying
Yeah, he
Society.
starts listening off the Kite Flying Society, and he lists Margaret Yang, number one.
Oh, you know what? This
Okay.
is the scene I'm talking about, isn't it?
Where he's
He just doesn't even.
this is where he's introduced to his father.
Yeah, this is what I'm. Isn't this where he says something? There's some
that
sort
was
of.
after the play at the end.
That's what I thought too. But now that I'm watching this, I think there is a moment. Now it's coming back to me. There is a moment in this scene when Bill Murray is introduced to the dad, and it all comes together. I don't think there's even words, and he gets it. Just watch for that look when he says, like, "Mr. Bloom, this is my dad," and he looks at him. He's kind of like, "Oh, okay, I get it."
Yeah.
And
And
it's a beautiful
it went unsaid.
It's a beautiful testament to acting, but
And direction, because they had to have the presence of mind to do that.
I really like this moment here. You see the two pins that Max had on his lapel are now in this box, and he's going to give one to Bill Murray, and it reminds me of the two turtle doves. Do you guys recall that?
No.
I remember it from Home Alone 2. Would you remember? Kevin got the two turtle doves, and he gave one to the homeless woman, and he said, "You keep one, and I'll keep the other." Kind of reminds me of that. So look at that. They're sharing it. One's punctuality and one's perfect attendance, and he takes punctuality.
And here, it's just, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Just awesome. Look, and all the dads like, "Hey, let's get you cleaned up, buddy."
Yeah.
No judging, nothing like that. It's just
this is the moment you're talking about, Justin.
Yeah, this is my father, Bert Fisher. Look at this. Look at this.
Look at this.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, I just got it.
Yep.
And that "nice to meet you," he means it.
Oh,
you know.
truly, yeah.
Mhm.
But that was just a beautiful look he did.
And I think it's one of the first moments in the movie you see him connecting with someone of his age, I think, too.
Mhm.
Look how destroyed he is.
And he needs the haircut. Look at him.
This is like reminding me of his very downbeat moments in Groundhog Day, where he hit rock bottom and started committing suicide over and over again and
Yeah.
giving up on life. And it all starts with a shave and a haircut, his rebirth.
Yeah.
What do you think of Max's suit here?
I love this. Oh, how much you worth? Over $10 million. He's like, well, we're going to need all of it.
There's the Rocky montage.
Eye of the Tiger.
The Vernon Shirley is what I thought of.
We're gonna need a montage. Yeah.
Simultaneous wheelies.
I kind of love that little bit when they're both carrying pipes and they're running. You can see that because he was in Vietnam, he's kind of holding it like a rifle.
Yeah, he's in the
shit again. That.
He hasn't changed his suit yet.
There we go. The kite flying came to be. Bravo, Max. Love Mom. That's when probably he got into Rushmore and she gave it to him. When he wrote his little one act about Watergate.
Yeah.
I love that he's into calligraphy. I think
he's into everything.
That's true. I wish I could, have that skill. That'd be nice.
Well, it's not a skill. That's sort of the impression I get of him, is that there's never skill involved. It's just pure determination.
Well, when they show,
I never get the sense that he's good at any of these clubs that he's in.
No, he's not great. That's for sure. Look at that, you're a quitter, man. He spent $8 million.
Here's the smoking again.
That's all you're prepared to spend. Because if Max had $10 million, he would have spent every dime without blinking. So when he says that to Bloom, I mean, it's kind of a wake up call to Bloom. It's like, well, do it or don't do it. But if you're gonna do it, man.
Yeah, that's a good point. Don't do anything half-assed. Go all the way.
Yeah,
I like this this composition here. This is kind of a reflection to me of the scene earlier between her and Herman when she's with the boy and he's painting, and you see a kind of similar. You see her classroom in the background, and it kind of reminds me of this little playhouse. I mean, look how big she looks in comparison to it. It just kind of shows how her character has been reduced in not only in profession but in emotion. She's been brought down to another level because of her association with Max. He's really done some damage to her. Dynamite. He has no problem getting dynamite.
And the kid holding the gun.
Well, he ordered dynamite earlier in the movie, right?
Did he? I'm not sure.
Yeah, because he was quoting Heat. He when he had the billing done, he billed it to the same thing that Val Kilmer did.
Oh, really?
At the beginning of Heat, to like Reading, Tucson, or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And now he's doing. What's the movie he's doing here?
Toy Soldiers.
Shooting out the
Taps?
windows. Taps.
He does. Yeah,
Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise shooting out the window, like you said.
Yeah, he does look like Taps.
It's fucking beautiful, man. That's what he says.
I can't believe he shot him.
Yeah, this is good. Yeah, like you said, the way they're kind of they're confronting each other right here. Like, he doesn't punch Magnus in the face to get back at him. He just says, he extends an olive branch. It's interesting.
I like that Max immediately is just sort of like, I always wanted to be in one of your plays.
Yeah.
Heaven and hell. Revised draft. Yeah. Because in the end, he says he tried to get it made at Rushmore, but some kid got his finger blown off during rehearsals.
I always wanted to be in one of your
fucking realize. January. Now, this is the last curtain, and it's the last month, and January, of course.
And January has a specific symbolism of renewal. And
exactly what I was going to say.
New Year.
Yeah. This is a beautiful shot. We see all the characters that he's met throughout the movie, all come together.
Future Man.
We have Luke Wilson. We have one of his teachers, Grover Cleveland, the parents of Margaret.
A weird Elvis impersonator. Or
here we have Bill Murray, and then we're going to have the two cops that arrested him coming up here in a second, right there. Everybody's there. It's a fantasy. It's a fable, or it's like the Wizard of Oz. You were all there. There's Mr. Little Jeans. There's Miss Dr. Guggenheim.
Yep, Brian Cox. Looking unhappy to be there.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Max puts them together.
Yep.
Kind of like the way Robert Downey Jr. brought those two characters together in what's that movie called? Chances Are.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Chaplin.
No. Good performance, but no. I think this is the same kind of stage they used when they did those MTV shorts. But I love Max's outfit. This kind of.
He's been wearing that for a while. The weird green suit with the bow tie.
It's just so him.
Yeah.
Safety glasses and some earplugs.
Yeah, he's not joking.
No.
Now, another reason I love or fell in love with this movie so early was if that's not a David Lynch opening, a dude in a velvet suit sitting in front of curtains.
Yeah, I could see that. This is awesome.
I love the production values.
I know. I would love to go. I'd go to this play.
Well, yeah, this is a high school, public high school production. Yeah. I mean, he's using his connections at Rushmore, but still.
Yeah.
But that's sort of But you buy it because that's sort of the power of Max.
Well, yeah, you actually believe he could do that. I mean, that's a real friggin' flamethrower.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean,
he's got Dennis and Menace out here up front, wheeling up the call,
calling in the airstrike or whatever. Yeah. Of course, he comes down, rappelling from a helicopter.
He looks like Tom Cruise here. Look at him.
He really
without the glasses.
Tom Cruise, a la whatever that movie was, Born on the 4th of July.
Oh, not Platoon.
Platoon's Charlie Sheen.
I was thinking Mission Impossible when he comes down out of the
red light, green light.
He's actually got a flamethrower.
Actual flamethrowers?
Yeah, really throwing flame.
This right get knocked out. Yeah.
Fisher. He's like, what? I'm gonna throw down with you.
Yeah, it's like, I'm okay. Just keep going.
I love that. I love that touch.
Yeah.
That now he's willing to defend him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And he's feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
The poster.
Yeah.
See, just the attention to detail.
I never even noticed that, Dave. I mean, see what I mean?
I've always noticed that.
I never saw it before. There's just so much going on in this movie. It's like, this is like the kind of dramatic equivalent to, say, like Airplane, where you can look in the background and see so many jokes going on. And they'll take every frame seriously, just to make a joke. Or, Wes Anderson does the same just to make a point or to slip in, like, the picture of Max.
Mm-hmm.
I like this very slow pullback, and she brushes his hair, and she's going to slip her arm into his.
Oh, look, she gives him. And who doesn't love Bill Murray's reaction when this play?
Well, yeah, I meant to tell you that. I meant to bring that up. When you watch the reactions of the crowd, you see Bill Murray is completely rapt with complete attention. Because
he's crying.
Yeah. I've always wanted to say that to somebody. Say a prayer for Surf Boy, wherever he is. But I know nobody's gonna get it. We got the surfboard, which is, I think, reminiscent of Apocalypse Now. Wasn't there a surfer, or wasn't that?
Oh yeah, that's the whole surfing scene.
Yeah.
Charlie Don't Surf, all that.
Yeah. Will you marry me, Lane Chong? You bet I will.
You bet I will.
Look at this. I love this. I wish a play really looked like this in high school. This is so beautiful.
In anything. Really.
Oh, yeah.
Look
at Bill Murray.
Power.
Power. Yeah.
The power. And I love that they put him in the back row, so it's just it's so much more subtle.
Look at this. This is awesome. He's actually got props from.
This looks like my home office.
He's creating the experience for you, and I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where he mentions the kid getting his finger blown off. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And finally, he introduces his father
to the love of his life. Yeah. Well, he's comfortable.
Right.
He says he's a barber. He's comfortable with it now. He's learned humility, and
it still doesn't feel completely comfortable.
Well,
because of the way he announces it,
I love this.
It's kind of like if he was completely comfortable, he would have just said, "This is my father," and then maybe at some later point,
best play ever, man.
The fact that he was a barber might have come out.
Yeah.
But just to say, this is my father. He's a barber. Hi.
Well, I thought you meant, it's a little uncomfortable because, he's obviously still infatuated. Well, there's so much in love with Miss Cross. Here it is. I understand you're a neurosurgeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where you were getting confused,
No,
Justin.
Yeah, I was mixing up.
I love that. You see him scuffing the floor, the coach. Like, he's like looking at, because he's a baseball coach, but he's looking at the floor. He's noticing there's scuff marks, and it's just one of those things in the background that I noticed.
As it was taking off. Yeah.
Like, you see her parents
And
looking
again,
at them
Yeah.
with the sparkler, and they're so happy
And
for
I just
her.
love that about this scene is that you're totally suckered into thinking, oh, this is where it's going to end. What a sweet ending.
Mm-hmm.
And then they pull the rug out.
Well, I mean, how do you feel exactly? Pull the rug out. How do you feel about that exactly? I mean, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, by the end, I think all of this was a ploy for Max to get what he wanted.
To get Miss Cross?
Yeah.
I don't know. You really feel that way? I never thought that.
Absolutely. Look what's happening right now.
I know. Okay. I mean, to me, it's First Love's Die Hard, and you can see that in his eyes here, and you realize, yeah, he still hasn't completely gotten over her, but I never felt that like he was doing this necessarily, for that reason.
I always kind of felt like he was doing that, all of this for the sole purpose of getting Mrs. Cross, which is what he wanted in the first place.
As far as this ending play, I
this
think
is one of the best.
See, like,
this is one of the best.
Like he's playing the record.
Yeah, well, this is one of the best pieces of end credit music I've ever had.
Oh yeah, it's such a great shot to go out on.
Well, the music captures the spirit of the film so well.
With Margaret Yang dancing with Bloom, it's just so beautiful.
Well, it captures it just like Fight Club, Where's My Mind? It just fits so perfectly. You feel like it was written for the movie, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
She takes off his glasses.
And that's exactly why I feel like everything leading up to this was him trying to get Mrs. Cross.
Yeah, but
it's because of that.
But he brought
callback.
But he brought them to
asked for the record.
But he brought them together. He brought Bill Murray and Miss Cross.
He brought them together, and then remember his introduction at the beginning. He's like, I'm dedicating this to so and so and to Edward Appleby, a friend of a friend. I think he still loves her, and he always will.
And there's Bill Murray dancing with Margaret.
This composition is so beautiful.
And look at her. Look at him. Look at her. He's like, you're so adorable.
And here,
and there's that kid
comes in with a wheelchair. Just kind of comes in at the end, and then the curtain.
He loves her, but he knows that'll never happen.
The curtain does close on them, though. It's an odd way to go out.
I don't think he knows that it'll never happen.
I think he
believes that it will. Happen.
You know what?
And I think that he will keep.
In real life,
forever.
as in film, there's loves that you never give up on.
Yeah, he may never always give up.
No matter,
I think he knows it ain't.
No matter how broken your heart may be, there's part of you that will never let it go.
Well, this is a great movie.
I know. I just love it so much. Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, Dave. It's been real fun. Sarah Tanaka.
Thanks for inviting me. This has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, hope we can do it again one day. That'd be great.
Yeah, sure.
Maybe something Superman related. I'm sure I won't have much to say, but I'm sure you guys will. But this song, like I said, I love the way it just kind of brings you out of the movie. It takes you out at the end, and it's called Ooh La La. For anybody out there interested, if you don't have the soundtrack. And there's that lyric, I wish I knew what I know now when I was younger, and when I was stronger. It's just that's Max.
Stronger.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, Justin, do you have any kind of closing thoughts for Rushmore?
Connie Nielsen. I knew it was Connie. I don't. I think it's an incredible movie. I think it
just gets better every time,
It does, and I think it is.
Sure.
The relationships depicted in this movie are so different and so unique on film that it's really just touching. I mean, I love how not other than maybe one or two references where it kind of had to be said. the issue of their ages, and I'm not just talking about Mac's friendship with the teacher or anything. I mean, even the teacher's relationship with Bloom. They're very, their ages are very different, but really age is not an issue in this movie. It's never spoken about. It's never made an issue in a broader sense, like with Guggenheim or anything like that. No one references it, and their relationships. I keep using this word, beautiful. There are beautiful relationships in this movie, and the only thing I would have liked to have seen more of in this movie was Margaret Yang.
Yeah, you got my vote on that one.
Other than that, I think this movie is just awesome. The relationships are incredible, and I've never seen anything quite like it in film.
It's a special movie, at least to me and to us, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping this commentary will get people to take another look at it. It has become one of my favorite films, along with Star Wars and Star Trek. I'll slip it into that, say, bracket of like a top 10, and this movie isn't nearly as old as some of those, but it's obviously made quite an impression on me, and like I said, just gets better and better every time. I love it. Anything you'd like to close out with, Dave?
Oh, yeah. Rushmore's a classic, man.
Modern classic. Yeah.
I've seen it so many times.
It is a modern classic.
It really is. It's one of those that kind of jumps out at you almost as soon as you see it. Like I think the first time I saw it, I thought, wow, that's one I'm going to see again and again and again and again. And I just had sort of an immediate sense of it being a modern classic.
Well, the credits have ended, so I guess we can say our goodbyes, close out the show. This has been Josh, and Justin and I are the soulless minions of Orthodoxy, and I just want to thank Dave for joining us. It's been a treat. It's been a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Thank God for modern technology that we're able to do this, even though you live on the other side of the country. Yeah, if you have any comments, just visit our small little community forum. I keep it active. I post on there a lot. It's soullessminions.uki.com. Please stop by and visit. Like I said, if you just want to mention a commentary you'd like us to do, or just see what's coming up, or just talk about yourself, introduce yourself. I know we have listeners, so this is Josh signing off.
And this is Justin signing off.
Sure, I'm Dave.
All right, good night, everybody.